You might be asking yourself, why is self-love so important? It means accepting your emotions for what they are and putting your physical, emotional, and mental well-being first. So let's discuss why you should learn to love yourself more in this week's episode. For many of us, self-love might sound like a luxury rather than a necessity, or even a new fad for those with too much time on their hands. But self-love and compassion might be needed most by those of us who work too hard and who are constantly striving to surpass themselves to grasp that concept of perfection. So learning to love yourself means so many things. Firstly, let's pay attention to how you are internally talking to yourself, because this is critical for learning to cultivate and have an intimate feeling of self-love. For example, when you make a mistake or notice a flaw, what type of language are you using with yourself? Do you instantly go to insulting yourself, or are you trying to take a step back and take a kinder approach to what went wrong? We are much harder on ourselves than we would be to others, and we would never treat other people the way we treat ourselves. So think about that the next time you're being hard on yourself, and try to replace that harsh inner voice with a much kinder one. Try to take notice of these thoughts and slowly try to make changes. Try to be more of a forgiving person to yourself like you would towards others. One of the things you could always do is to write yourself a letter full of kindness and compassion to remember on those hard days when you're being so harsh on yourself. Remember, you should always listen to yourself, because it's important during these emotional times to ask yourself this question: what do I need? And try to answer it mindfully. Simply asking yourself this question can be a great exercise to practice self-compassion towards yourself. Some people grow up thinking that life is a struggle and that they don't deserve happiness. For most people who suffer with depression, at some point growing up, they have dealt with neglect or abuse rather than receiving messages from their loved ones that they are worthy and have value and that they are also loved. This may cause people to cling to their shortcomings, past failures, and their poor decisions. When we feel like we're not good enough or not accepted or have too much shame, we start to minimize those good things about ourselves and those positive qualities we do have. However, happiness is not an entitlement. It takes work and the right kind of attention to create the necessary conditions to find fulfillment. So self-compassion begins by realizing that you have the right to be happy. Now, self-love and compassion are so much more than just being good to ourselves, such as like soaking in a hot tub or getting a massage. Although these things can be nice, self-compassion is an inside job. This has to do with how we hold ourselves and relate to our own feelings. It means finding the strength and resilience to embrace the full range of our human emotions. Being human means dealing with those uncomfortable emotions, so finding some of those inner resources can help us gently embrace our feelings rather than meeting them with judgments. Remember this the next time you feel sad, lonely, afraid, hurt, embarrassed, or any other unpleasant feelings. Stop for a second and take a few slow breaths and notice how your body feels in that moment. Allow the emotion and the bodily sensations such as prickly, tight, heavy, or jumpy associated with these feelings be there without feeling judgment towards those feelings or criticizing yourself, being afraid of it, or feeling ashamed in the first place. If any of these feelings do come up, take notice of them and try to find a way to be gentle with yourself the next time these feelings come up. Self-compassion means accepting yourself as we are and meeting our feelings with love and kindness rather than constantly trying to fix or change ourselves. It means becoming your own best friend, Once we start working towards being compassionate towards ourselves, then we can start slowly serving other people. When we have more inner peace, we will have more to offer others. So when we become more familiar and gentler with our own feelings, this can allow us to easily extend compassion towards others when they are feeling distressed or challenged by their own feelings. Therefore, being able to love yourself when you're suffering can be difficult, primarily because you don't feel lovable a lot of the times, but it is still very important to your mental health. So by taking these steps that I've talked about and slowly start being more gentle with yourself and accepting that you don't have to be perfect, the more you'll be able to love yourself and learn how to love yourself again. When dealing with depression, it can be so hard to love yourself, but it doesn't have to be. When we start making those right choices and those right steps into the direction of self-love, anything is possible. So, like always, I will leave you with that you are never alone and that I love you.